So here's something we didn't expect on our home build here in the Philippines. Let me show you here as we go along. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but the rainy season here is usually in June and July is when it starts. But we've been having a lot of rain here lately, and it's affected us quite a bit. And one of the things that has happened, and I'll show you in a second, but first let me show you what's going on with the house, because they've gotten a lot done. The last video I was showing you that they're getting some of the rendering done on the exterior of the building, and now they're getting it's almost all done on the exterior. And they have a few things to do. And one of the things that they have to do is, I'll show you here. So you can see that they've been working on the exterior and they're getting it all done. It's really looking great. But what you have right here is, in the middle here, you have a big window, another window, and then you have the door. And that door there, what it needs is it needs to be opened because we are going to put a wider door in there. My wife wants a big door, so a big door she wants, a big door she gets. That's the way that works. But the other thing that is done right now is the roof. And now they haven't done the eaves, the under eaves here. And when they do that, that's going to be, I can't remember, I believe it's going to be a PVC paneling that they're going to put in there. One that we designed is going to be the same color, I think, as the trim of the house. So that's going to be kind of cool. But it's a good thing that they got this roofing done when they did. And what I'll show you why in just a second. So as I was saying, that we've had a lot of rain and a lot of windy weather, and that's really affected the guys. And one of the things that I think is really special about the Filipinos, well, for one, I don't know if you know this, but generally when they build a house, they set up a barracks so that the workers will live in the barracks on site while the work is being done. And now these guys, they stay here until Saturday afternoon, and then they'll go home for Saturday evening and Sunday, spend that time with the family. And then they come on back for Monday and they start all over again. Now, some of the things that I think is pretty cool is that they've been doing this rendering even though it's been raining. Now, fortunately, the rain has been coming in the evening, so it'll be coming like at 4 o'clock until sometime in the morning. And then they get up and they go at it again. And that's just the way they do it here. And I find that kind of fascinating because, well, in America, it's not done like that at all. And so I'm going to show you here real quick that if you can see, there's a hammock that is strung across here, and there's some of the cooking materials that are here. This is inside the house, and the reason that is because the thing that we didn't expect is was their barracks to be torn apart. So this was their barracks, and now it's just a messy site now. But this used to be their barracks, and it was the wind and the water just weighed down their tarps, and it just tore this thing apart. And so they have a lot of cleanup to do here, but this is no longer usable for them. Good thing they're as far as they are with the house build, because now that the house build is where it's at. Hi, how's it going? Going good? So now that the house build is as far as it is, they're able to stay inside at night. And again, that's just something that you just don't see here in the Philippines. Or you don't see in America, you see it here in the Philippines. It's the only place that you're going to see this. Now, I'm not going to talk much about the fencing because we've already made a decision on the fencing, and we are going to go with them putting the channel or the piping into the cement. They're going to have to put cement in there to make it solid, and they're going to have to put epoxy or some type of silicone to help keep it from rusting. Now, I know some of you guys have said, oh, don't do that, it's just going to cause the pipes to rust. But if you look at this right here, you'll see that fencing was done over 30 years ago. and it hasn't rusted. So they put it into the concrete, they um, they painted it, they primered it, they painted it, and they put it in, and it seems to last for a long time. So I think that's the way we're going to go with that. We don't like the design that the fencing contractor did, so we're going to obviously we're going to change that. And you know, once again, I get so many good comments, and then I get, people who have something negative to say, and that's okay. I don't mind, because when you're on YouTube, you're opening up yourself to criticism. But the whole goal of my channel is to try to show expats who want to come here with their Filipina and build a home, or maybe they are here with the Filipina and they're thinking about building a home here, but they've heard all the horror stories and they just, they're just afraid to do it because they think their Filipina has the possibility to rip them off, or they think that they're going to end up with a crappy contractor in that contract. And I'll tell you something, that when you do work with a local contractor, it is hit and miss. And you do have to supervise that a lot more than what I have to do when it comes to what the engineer does. With the engineer and his crew, they're just on it. I mean, they stay here, they live here, they get up in the morning, they're proud of their work. And I think that if you really look at this, you'll see they're doing a great job. But if you look at the wall and the fence, we have a lot of work to do. So what we did is we looked for another contractor, and we found a guy that we've seen some of his work, and we've checked him out. He does good concrete work, he does tile work, and he does rendering he does fence work. So we're actually going to hire him. And well, one thing that we want him to do is, I've shown you before, but I'll show you again, is that this right here, let me show you. Okay, as you go up to the carport, that's all going to be concrete. So let me see if I can show you from here. You can see the opening. That's the gate right here. This is going to be the gate. And we're using a rolling gate because that's what we want to do. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a little bit of an L, because if you look down here, you'll see that the house is a little bit over to the left of the gate itself. But what we want to do is we're going to extend the carport concrete, the width of the carport, all the way to this end of the house. And then from there, we're going to do just a little bit of an L shape here and run it down to the gate. And so that's the concrete work that we have to have done. And so we found a guy that we think is going to do a good job. And the other thing that we're going to do is, because the rendering, before I get to the rendering, we had to talk to this fence contractor, because he's been at this for 3.5 months. That's the same length of time that they've been working on the house. And you can see the house is like way farther than the fence is. So we're meeting with him tomorrow morning to set a deadline that we want this as far done as he can get it done within the 2-week span. Because it's just taking him way too long to get this done. Now, as far as the other contractor goes, what we're going to do with him is we're going to do the rendering, but we're going to do it by the day. So I think he charges 500 pesos a day. And that way we can supervise the work as it goes. He does something one day, we can check how he's doing. We can see if he's doing a good job. He can come the next day if we like what he's doing. If not, we won't let him come back. But I have a good feeling about this particular guy because we've seen his work and he does a great job. So that way we can get the rendering of this fencing done a little bit at a time, and it doesn't hurt our budget. We already have paid X amount of dollars for this fence to be done, and we're not willing to spend any more because the budget that we have for this was plenty. There's plenty to get this done. So with what we have left after this guy finishes up, now let me show you one more thing here, because right here, let me show you, there it is. So right here is where the pool is going to go. Kind of right here. So if you can see Right there is the bedroom. That's the sliding glass doors for the bedroom. At the edge of the sliding glass door is where the pool is going to start. And it's going to work its way down just past here, just before this tree right here. And that's where the pool is going to go. So they have this much of the fence from there all the way over to there to complete. Now we've already paid for that, and so, but he can't do that. Now he can't do that work until they start digging out the pool. Now they're going to start digging out the pool once they finish all of the rendering of the exterior of the building. And so you can see they're going to finish up everything out here first. And they still have some work to do. You can see they have some work to do on this window. And I don't know if you guys remember how these windows looked. They looked all jagged and so on. But you can see how nicely they finish them up. It just looks great. So I think when all this is done and it's getting there, I'm going to guess maybe in 2 weeks, they'll start digging out this pool area. Once they dig out the pool area, and one of the things they're going to do with the soil that comes out of the area is they're going to use this to help do the backfill here. So once again, if you look, you'll see the backfill is actually going to go up to right maybe to the bottom of the tie beam. So that's where the backfill is going to go up. And so they still need more soil for that, and they'll be getting that from this area here where they dig out the pool. Now, the last thing is that now that they've gotten as far as they have with the roof, they have, it's time for the solar guys to come out here and start getting their stuff hooked up, because they have to get all their conduit put in. They have to figure out where they're going to put the panels. And this is one of the questions that I'm kind of debating here a little bit. Do we put the panels on the top of the roof? Do we put the panels on the top of the carport? Or do we put the panels somewhere on the land? And so there's a lot of different questions about that, a lot of different thoughts about that, because some say that structurally this isn't strong enough to handle the weight of the panels, the solar panels. Some say it's just fine, lots of houses are doing it. And if you notice, we have plenty of land that we can put the solar panels on the land if we want to. But the solar panels that we're using are double reflective, so they reflect from the bottom and from the top, so they will absorb heat and light from the bottom as well as from the top. Now, our roof is brown, so I'm expecting that I'm not going to get a lot of reflection from the bottom. If that's the case, it doesn't matter whether or not it's on the roof or if we put it on the ground. Now, this little area right here, we're not going to put it here, any panels here, because the pool is going to be right there. And we want to set this area up here so it's a garden. There's going to be a picnic table, a pergola of some sort that people can get out of the sun and they can just enjoy the pool. So this is going to be our garden oasis. We're going to make this into, we're going to put bamboo trees in here. We're going to put flowers and all kinds of stuff in there to make this look like our little oasis. And this is really important to us. As a matter of fact, we're going to do the interior rendering of the fence right here along the pool first, because that's our oasis and that's the most important area that we have. And we really want to make sure that it looks good, because as we get to the pool. Oh, another thing that you might find interesting is that the way the sun is and the way this house is set up. So the way this house is set up, the sun comes up over here and it sets over on the other side. So in the morning, where the pool is, there is no sun. So it's nice and cool in the morning. So So when we get up in the morning, we'll be able to sit out by the pool. It'll be nice and cool. The sun won't be beating down on us. We could eat breakfast out by the on the picnic table out there and just enjoy the morning, the birds and the flowers. And we're looking forward to that. And then in the evening, when the sun comes down on the other side over there, when the sun's over there, then this side over here, there's no sun. And that's great because now that means on this side over here in the evening, well, if we're not in the pool playing and cooling off, we could be over here on this side. And this is where my wife wants to put a vegetable garden. And I want to make sure that in the vegetable garden area, because you can have raised vegetable garden, I want to make sure that we put some sort of a water feature in there so that this too on this side is really enjoyable. Now this, as you can see, there you go. As you can see, this area here, there's plenty of space here where we could put the solar panels if we decided that we wanted to put the solar panels on the ground. So there's a question for you guys. Do we put them on the roof, the solar panels on the roof, or do we put them on the ground? It'll be interesting to get your feedback on that. And you know, I'm not the whiz on all this stuff. We're figuring it out as we go. I'm not going to say that I know everything about Philippine construction. I don't. I was a project manager in California. When we built walls, because we had to build a lot of retaining walls, because we were by the mountain and we have slopes, and if you didn't build a retaining wall correctly, then obviously the surcharge from the mountain would just knock it over. Now, the code in California was anything above 4 feet had to be an engineered wall. Now here you don't have an engineer on anything above 4 feet. They just build it, so that's just the way that is. But in California, they use cinder block, and cinder block acts differently than hollow block. And the construction, the way it's done, it's just done differently, and that's just the way it is. But here we are in the Philippines, and I'm not an expert on this, but I am a good project manager. I do know how to manage a project. So anyway, I don't mind, if some of you have negative comments about me asking the audience or asking my viewers a little bit about, giving me some of their knowledge, because I read every single comment, and I try to, respond to the comments to the best I can. Some of the latest comments really have always been still about whether or not Philippine construction is worth it. People say that I should have bought a home that's already been built and then renovated. But what they're missing is that this is our dream. What we wanted to do is we wanted to come here with the money that we had saved for retirement so that we could build our dream home, our vision of what we wanted. And this is it. And, it's been really kind of fun. It's really cool. And so any of you guys, when you give me your responses in the comments, I'm so grateful because you help me out. I'm like anybody else. There's Chat GTP, there's Google AI, there's all kinds of information that I can gather, but there's nothing like people who have already been through the experience, and that's what I'm offering. I'm offering my experience so that you guys know some of the things that happen when you build in the Philippines. So anyway, guys, this is it for this video. If you have anything that you want to say, if you have any ideas about where we should put that solar, please put it in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.